Hey y'all, welcome to the Honesty Circle, the safe space for heart to heart conversations rooted in faith, discussing mental health, navigating adulthood, and all the things in between. It's your host, Sierra Elise, and I hope you're taking care of not only your mental and spiritual, but your emotional and physical health so you can be your best self this week. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Honesty Circle. It's your host, Sierra Elise. How are y'all doing? I hope you're doing well, and I hope that you remember that God loves you, and I do too. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm back, y'all. I have missed it. Honestly, I have missed it. And so much has happened, so much has shifted, so much has changed, and obviously we'll hit on all of that um with coming episodes. But really just kind of thinking about it, like in December when I took the initial break, like your girl was burnt out. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I really was overworking myself, like point of staying up super, super late. We got to the point my mom was I was home for Christmas. Mom was like, I just really need you to make sure that you're asleep because like you just become a little bit more irritable, a little cranky. And when I really thought about what she was saying, I was like, yo, she's right. Like I have been very irritable, very irritated with the lack of sleep that I've been getting. And it's because I've been overworking myself with being in school, working full time, trying to do other projects that I've been working on, and you know, getting more involved in my church. Like so much was happening, and I was just like, "Girl, let's just take a little step back, just take a break." And it was a much needed break. But one thing I knew is that I couldn't keep doing it the way that I have been, right? So with my schedule, like um, because I am oftentimes busy throughout the week, I do my homework, or sometimes some Sundays are saved for my homework days. Well, homework is due that day, and so oftentimes that's also been my wrap up day for episodes. So like I'm, making sure things are uploaded, making sure things are ready for Monday, and so. With this switching episodes to Wednesday, the goal is to have your girl not burnt out anymore. So it gives me more time, works better with my schedule, and I had some people, some of my friends, like, no, like I'm gonna miss the Mondays, like starting my week with Omni Circle. And trust me, I know, and hopefully we'll get back to it. But as of right now, this is will be it with Wednesdays. And honestly, you can wait to listen to it for the next Monday if you would like. But I mean, hey, that's just you. But anyways, let's hop right into it. So during this break, obviously the new year happened. Obviously, February is the love month, and February is my favorite month. Not only is it the love month, but it also is my birthday. February 28th, don't forget. But with it being the love month, I really wanted to talk about something that has been really heavy on me since the beginning of 2025. This has been a statement that has been a constant theme, and yeah, it's been a challenge. So obviously we'll be talking about leading with love. So like I said, that's my theme for the year, and it's really about um checking my heart posture in my actions, and making sure that it's coming from a right place when I say things, when I do things. And obviously I'm not perfect because this had to come from somewhere. Like I do think that, not that I was leading from hate, right? Like I think the opposite of love isn't always hate, but I don't think it always came, everything I did came from like the right heart posture, just genuinely like, yeah. When people get on my nerves, anger, anything along those lines, get on my nerves. I think I said that, but anything along those lines. And I just really wanted to switch how, and honestly, other people might not notice a shift, but it's more internal, right? Like someone else may not say, "Oh, she leads with love." Well, I hope they say that, but it also starts with within. So I'm gonna talk about what that is, what that looks like. But before we talk about leading with love, first we have to know what love even is. What is love, y'all? In this month of love, I think that young Sierra would have told you that love was just like this feeling when you love it, when you, not when you love somebody, when you like somebody a lot, and it's just a lot of feelings, a lot of emotion that comes with like. It's like I used to see it as a step past like. And now at this big adult age, well, not that big adult age, but at this age now, and as I've been growing grown in my walk with Christ, but then also just growing up in general, being in relationships, I realized that love is not a feeling all the time, right? Well, it kind of comes out of a feeling, right? It's not always a feeling. And a big part of it is that love um takes action. Love is a verb. And um you really see that in the Bible. So let's look at that. So obviously most people know First Corinthians chapter 13 verses 4 through 7, like where it talks about love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. So that's how the Bible describes love. And obviously, there's so many scriptures that talk about love in the Bible. But another one I wanted to pull out was John 3 16, where it says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only son." And when you look at all of those things, first looking at the definition, but then also when you see love in put in context. So I think like when I see Corinthians, it's more of like the definition, right? So that's like describing words and characteristics that go along with love. But then I think what really helps me is, I'm a visual learner, um, is this visual of God loved, so he gave. Um, and so gave is an action. Like he demonstrated it. He because he loved, he then did something. And so I think that's when I thought about like leading with love, right? Like it's, what am I going to decide to do because I'm choosing to love? I have to decide to be patient. I have to decide to be kind, not envy, not boastful, not proud. Um, I don't delight, I do not delight in evil, making sure that I'm not self-seeking, that I'm not easily angered, which I am easily angered. And so when you hear about the reasons, like I said earlier, as to why I even, so sorry, Zeke is doing a lot right now, but as to why I even decided to lead with love is because as I was learning more about love, I was realizing that I wasn't even acting in it in myself. And like specifically to others, right? And I think, but when we also think about love, it's thinking about how I also am giving it to myself. Am I easily angered with myself when I do something wrong? Am I patient with myself? Am I kind to myself? All of these things. And I started to realize it was like, how can I expect to receive love if I don't love? But then also not even in a way where I'm looking to receive it. But because God loved me, God loves me. God loves all of us, not just me. But this is kind of from my perspective. Like I was realizing that God loves me and he forgives me, and all the things that I've done wrong, and all the times where I have ran away from him and, didn't listen to him, was disobedient, all of these things, right? And he still loved me. And it made me really think about, okay, so if somebody annoys me at work, why am I also not choosing to lead with love? Why am I not choosing to let love be the action, right? Or doing my actions in love. And so yeah, and so this is how where this all came from. And I was realizing that like because I get so angry so quickly, or I also like things get on my nerves, or like all that kind of stuff, like it's not a heart posture that I wanted to experience. And so that's where it started to go from okay, I understand what love is now, but now how am I going to check myself and check my heart posture when it comes to things? And so first I had to check my words, because words matter. And if my dad, and y'all know he's a pastor, he preached on the watch night service at their church at Nehemiah, and like the theme was like just like watch your words. And the crazy thing was, I had already said something similar to Leah, that before the year even ended. So when that came up, I'm like, yo, like I clearly need to watch what it is I'm saying, and making sure that what I'm saying, because our words have power, but also making sure that what I'm saying is from a place of love, right? And from a place of not always frustration, not in a place of anger. And so I wanted to check my words. Like what I'm saying, things that are not kind. I'm not saying things that show patience. I'm not say if I'm saying things that are super self-seeking, all of these things, I was like, okay, I have to check my words. So then, okay, once you check my words, I'm like, okay, I need to check my actions, right? So love is an action. So if I'm going to really do this thing and lead with love, like I can't just say I'm going to lead with love or talk about it or just only check my words, but I also have to make sure that what I'm doing is from a place of love as well. And that's this one has been difficult for me. Um, and not because it's hard to, um, not because it's hard to like, act with the heart of love, but I think, the hard part for me when it comes to actions is just like, it requires me to think. And so because I'm very like, I go off my emotions and I go off like, um, I guess like instantaneously doing my actions or whatever. This has required me to really take a second, like, okay, let me actually think, like, what am I doing? Also think about my words. What am I going to say? And then with all of this, it's really helping me. I feel like it's helped me show up better for people in my life, where I'm able to, um, I guess like go the extra step at times where before I was not, I was not going the extra step, not trying to do much more out of like what was just like the standard or the norm. But really just being intentional and how I'm showing up for my friends, even in how busy I am. Something I've been doing has been like scheduling FaceTimes, calls with my friends instead of just saying, oh, I've been busy, oh, I'm busy, and letting that be why I haven't talked to them for so long, or haven't, you know, and not just like text or send an Instagram DM or whatever, but like truly having a conversation where I'm able to talk and hear them and they're able to hear me and like really catch up. And so, um, it's allowed me to show up better for other people, but also allowed me to show up better for myself too, where it's like, I had to check the things that I'm doing for myself. Like, is this leading with love? Am I leading with love when it comes to myself? I'm trying to figure out how I was going to say that, but am I? And I think that's, it's when I say it's like shifted my whole perspective in like, I guess like self-love. And not that I like didn't understand self-love before, but I think like I knew, I guess like what's the word? Like I knew that self-love wasn't just like, okay, just say it or things like that, but truly checking like my thoughts on myself, my work, my actual words on myself, how I'm showing up for myself, my space, my all of these things that so it's like, how am I checking all those things? Um my co-host is going crazy today. He must be excited to be back on the mic. I don't know. And in all of this, right? Check your heart posture. It sounds so fun. And honestly, there's days where it is easy. Don't get me wrong. There's days when it's easy to lead with love. When it's a nice little sunny day outside and you know, I woke up on the right side of the bed, all of those things. It's so easy to lead with love. But one thing I really had to check myself in is the days that it's hard. The days in which it's hard to lead from love when I am in a bad mood, when I'm stressed, when I'm overwhelmed, when I just don't even feel like it. Because people are irritating me today. Like, right? Like, I don't want to lead with love. But it's like, no, like, I have to go against what it is I feel because what? Love is not a feeling. I don't feel like it today, but guess what? I'm going to do it anyway. And there's a few things that I have been doing to really help me, like, on the days that it's harder, like, what am I going to do about it? So I really been like taking time to sit with myself. I think the days in which it's harder for me to lead with love, I not isolate myself, but I do distance myself, and not in a way where it's like, oh, I'm just gonna be mellow and sad, but in a way where it's like, if I cannot show up with love, I don't need to be interacting too much with people until I'm going to. And I'm a people person, right? Like, I love interacting with people, I love all the things, but it's like, if I am not going to check myself right now in this mood that I'm in to lead with love, then I either need to be quiet or I need to stay to myself, or both. And so that's been something that has been helping me there. And then also, like, reminding myself what love is. Like, I have to remind myself. I remind myself of 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. Like, I have to remind myself of that, because as soon as I remind myself and read that, I'm like, ooh, that's quick. I'm gonna check my heart posture. I'm acting not in alignment with this. So let me go ahead and redirect and act in a way that is leading with love. Um, and you're probably listening to this like, okay, girl, what does this look like? How are we gonna do that? Like, how are we going to make sure that you guys are also leading with love? If you want to join me in the leading with love. So I talked about this a little bit more, but one is talking about pausing before I respond, really asking myself, like, and my friends know it. Like, I catch myself sometimes now. I'm like, ooh, I'm not leading with love. Let me check that real quick. Right. So even if I don't pause fully before responding, I try to catch myself when I realize I'm not leading from a place of love. I also make sure too, like, if I say something, I'm going to make sure that I counteract it after the fact. Like, if I don't catch it before it comes out, I'm like, that wasn't lead with love. I'm so sorry. Like, I am verbal when it comes to that. I make sure that I'm speaking life. Because even when I do make those mistakes, and not letting that mistake mess up the whole day. Like, I don't need to just stop leading with love because I messed up this little one time right now. Also making sure that I set boundaries, because leading with love does not mean that I cannot be assertive. That means doesn't mean that I can't stand my ground. If someone were to come at me, or I can't correct somebody, or I can't address somebody if it will have a problem. But it's just more so the tone. It's more so the way in which I am choosing to interact in that conversation. So don't think that you lead with love and you just let people walk over you, or that you just, let everything slide, because that's not true. That's not leading with love. Love is an action. So if I'm going to lead with love too, an action that might take is I'm might be proactive and address said issue, right? So that's another one. And then also reminding myself, like I said, remind yourself what love is. If you don't know what love is, you can't lead in it. You can't act in it. And so, yeah, that's how we're leading with love. And I mean, you don't have to lead with love this year, but I challenge you to, because when I tell you it's made the difference, like, I feel like it's allowed my bad days to not be full bad days, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like before I would just, like, be in a mood and let the mood just, like, carry. I'm in a bad mood. I'm just gonna let the bad mood just be the bad mood, right? But I feel like when I realize, I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna lead with love, like, the bad moments or the irritation or whatever, like, I feel like they're now moments, and they don't really overtake my day like they have previously. So that's a one small thing, I will say. That's actually not a small thing. That's a big thing. But that is one thing that has really made the difference for me in this. And so I challenge you guys to too. So that is my 2 cents for you. So my 2 cents is to write down one way that you can lead with love this week, the rest of this week, until the next episode. Write one way down. And I want you guys to comment it on Instagram when you see the 2 cents post. Make sure that you do in fact comment it. And yeah, you can take my advice or not. That is just my 2 cents. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. If you like anything that you heard, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you subscribe to our channel on YouTube, follow us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, all the things. But also make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Honesty Circle with an underscore at the end. Stay updated on Circle News. Thanks again for listening, and go conquer your week.